everyone, how are you? It's On. Welcome back to the barn for another one of our awesome tutorials. So today what we're going to do is we're going to show you the skills to make the most beautiful little Piwakawaka. So over here I've got one made out of some paper, and over here I've got one made out of some plastic blue strapping tape. But what we're going to do today is we're going to make one out of harakiki. So let's get to it. Okay, so for the most simplest version of building this beautiful Piwakawaka is you just need one leaf, which is pretty amazing. Now again, anytime that we're doing some work with harakiki, it's really important to find out the tikanga behind that protocol of harvesting. So please, there's a lot of amazing information out there around this, and really do find out what sits well with you. And then once you got your harvesting down and you got that tikanga and the protocol, then you can just keep on weaving. So one leaf today is all we need, and again today where our flax joins together down this bottom end here, it's really quite tricky and it's quite hard to work. So what I'll actually do is I'll definitely snip that bottom bit off there. Now that bottom bit that I've just snipped off, if you haven't seen one of our other videos, some people would just go, not going to use this, but this can make the most amazing throwing arrow. So if you haven't seen our throwing arrow video, definitely check that out because that is amazing. So today all we're going to do is we're going to size this leaf up, and let's say we probably want it no wider than 2 fingers. So I'm just going to fold my flax, my harakiki leaf in half here. I'm going to remove that mid-rib there, and now I'm going to come to sizing it. So let's give it a size of probably just under the width of 2 fingers. So the length of my flax actually doesn't need to be super long. Okay, so if I was going to have a little guide, if I was to hold this in my arm and stretch it out, probably up to my shoulder is where I could snip this off. So when I put these 2 pieces together to snip them off, if I actually cut them on a nice angle, later when we're actually folding and threading this, that little sharpness will help us. So one end will be snipped like that, the other end again will give it a nice sharp snip. So we're just going to use 2 leaves today. If we wanted to do a slightly more advanced version, we could use 4 leaves, and to make that body of the Piwakawaka a little bit more full, we could actually put 2 pieces together and treat them as one. But just for today, we're going to use 2 pieces. Let's get to it. Step number 1 is getting one of my pieces of harakiki here, and all we're going to do is we're going to fold this top down, and it's going to come under like this. Can you see that? It looks awesome. It actually looks like a little ribbon. So again, holding it up, bringing it down and just folding it just like that. So that's step number 1, looking pretty cool. With my other piece now, my other piece is going to go through the top, over the top there, and it's just going to sit on top like so. So it's going to come up and just sit on top like so. The next move is this piece here, this long piece here is going to do all the work. So if I was to slightly fold my first little piece up, this tail of that second piece I put in is going to wrap around, and it's going to come around like so. So I've got that second piece wrapping all the way around, and now this little tail here is going to come up, and it's going to go through there. So now if I was to hold this and gently start to pull it, I can actually start to pull this, and what we're hoping to aim for is this beautiful little pattern here on the bottom that kind of looks like a windmill knot, but you can see I've got 2 pieces sticking out the back like so, and I've got 2 pieces sticking out the front. So let's have a look at that process one more time. So from another view here, we're going to look at this process one more time. So we've got 2 pieces. The first piece is going to get folded like so. So we've got it corkscrewing around, and this one's sitting on top like so. The next step is this other piece is going to come, and it's going to sit over the top like that. It's going to come under this piece. So this piece here that I've just introduced is actually going to wrap all the way around, almost like it's going around the clock face. So if I was to lift that up there, I'd bring this one under there, and then it would come over the top, and it would actually try and come back towards itself. And the last little thing I need to do is to secure that piece that I've just wrapped. This first piece that I put in, that would need to tuck under and through that little gap I've made like so. And now at this point when it's together, I can start to dress this knot by giving it a little bit of a pull. So that little part there might take you a while to get. But the idea is that we're hoping to tie this awesome, beautiful, almost like a little bit of a diamond knot. And we've got 2 pieces up one side and 2 pieces up the other. Now at this point here, either side can be the head or the tail. So what I need to decide is I'm probably going to look for the longer side, which is going to be the head and my wings. And then this other side here that's quite short, I'm going to turn that into the tail. So let's start with the tail. So this side here is what I'm going to choose to be the tail. All I'm going to do is I'm going to decide one of these pieces needs to come over and it needs to join the other. So again, I can have it any way. I can have this piece come across and join, or I can have this piece come across and join that one. So regardless, they need to somehow end up together. What you'll see is in the middle there, I've got my flax, and at the moment, it's going to be a little bit tricky for me to get it over there. So all I need to do is I need to get my knife, and I need to make a little slit in this middle bit here, just like so. So now that I've got a little slit in that middle bit, either one of these can come across. For me, I might use this big one because it might be a bit easier to wind it through. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go under that little slit that I've just made, and hopefully that little tail is going to start to poke up. Excellent, I'm getting there. Wow, awesome. So you can see it's starting to come up. Choice. So once I've got that under there now, I'm going to slowly pull this like so until now those 2 pieces there are actually stuck side by side. So that bit is ready to go. Now the bottom bit, during this process, the bottom bit might open up a little, but that's okay because we actually can give it a little bit of a dress later. So that's step 1, was getting that tail and deciding what side would come across. Once I've done that now, I'm going to hold those 2 pieces completely together, and I'm going to give them that really traditional Piwakawaka tail. So I'm just going to come over around here like so, just like that. So a really nice round tail just like that. And that's the tail done. So now we're going to move on to making the beautiful head. Now the same thing needs to happen. Where the head is, I've got this piece in the middle here, and I actually do need to make a little slit. Again, with my knife down the center part there. So I'll just snip that down there like so. Alright, so this time with our head, one piece can actually fold straight away. One piece can fold back and go down beside itself. So this piece here can fold back and it can go completely just down there like so. And now with this, I can just squish that like so. So that's actually one beautiful wing made. If I was to spin this over, this other piece now is actually going to go under that little slit that we made. This piece is going to go under and up. We're getting there. This is pretty tricky. And under and up. Come on! Sometimes it needs a little bit of coaching to get in there. Come on, you! Excellent. Alright, so this piece now is going to get brung up like so. Wow, this is looking so cool. So that piece that I've just brung up now, again, is going to get folded back at the same height as that other little head bit that I've made. So that'll get folded back like so. And now that little piece is going to go back down where it came from. So it's going to come back down through that little gap just like so. So now I've got one wing sticking out this side, and if I have a little look here, I can see that this actually needs a little bit more tension. So I'm going to pop that out for a second, and I'm just going to do a little bit of work. There we go. So I've given it a little bit of more tension, and now I can get that piece again and fold it back down where it came from. And this just means that my wings will be a bit longer. So again, I've folded that down, so both of those little pieces have been folded down side by side. At this point now, I'm going to use my scissors. I can actually see that that already looks like a beautiful little wing. So if I try my best to snip this other side round about the same size as that, so I'm going to give this one a little bit of a snip here, trying to get them quite similar. Now with my little wings, all I'm going to do is put 4 little slits. 4 on that side, I'll do 4 on this side. Excellent. So now's the final step where we get to work on our tail. So back to the tail, where I've got my tail all together like so, I'm actually going to use some scissors on my tail, and initially I'm just going to snip it down. Lots of little snips. Once I've done all those little snips like so, I can actually now just peel it and pull it down just like that. Now with this tail here, I can sort of see that I still need to do a little bit of work. So if I hold this little tail and I start to try to fan it out a little bit, we can start to get that really beautiful, iconic little Piwakawaka tail. So this little Piwakawaka is absolutely looking beautiful. So a little advanced trick that I can do is, at the moment my tail looks pretty good and I'm pretty happy with it. But if I was to use a saw blade or a nitty comb, I could actually give this tail a little bit of a scrape, and it will actually really make it so much softer, and it will actually make it sort of fan out so much more. So I'll have a quick go doing that and I'll show you the result. I just used this awesome little saw blade, or again you could use a nitty comb. But what that's done is it's really made that tail really fan apart. A really good thing about using a nitty comb or something to spread that out or scrape that tail bit is that it won't shrink up and become tiny little round pieces of flax. It'll actually stay like that really iconic little Piwakawaka. So that is how you make the most beautiful little flax fantail. Now it definitely does take a little bit of work, that initial process, but definitely once you're able to create this and make this, they are super special. What I generally do is I'll make these, and they only take a few minutes to make once you get those skills, and I'll put a little bit of harakiki string in the bottom here, and I'll just tie them up on little trees. Or you can even sit them in a little branch somewhere and just leave them in nature. So that's something that I love to do a lot, is make all of these things that we've been showing you in tutorials and just place them places for people to find, and maybe they take them and maybe they leave them, but I think there's something pretty special about making stuff and leaving it in nature. So this little guy definitely belongs. So a flax Piwakawaka, or as you saw before, you can definitely make it out of paper, or you can definitely make it out of some of that blue strapping tape. So from Om at Craft Lab NZ, stay safe.